This is an original production from Mr. Consciousness. Imagine if I told you that most of your thoughts, those sacred private things, aren't really your own? You've been programmed, not by machines, but by words. Language is the supreme ruler of human civilization. Every word you speak, each opinion you hold, is shaped by this invisible cage. Back in 1938, Stuart Chase laid out this idea in The Tyranny of Words, a book that strips language down to its bare bones, revealing the unsettling ways it controls us. Chase doesn't just hint at the subtle power of words, he smashes the door open and insists you face the mess you're living in. He exposes language as a master manipulator and, more importantly, hands us the tools to fight back. You've been fed lies, illusions, and abstractions for so long that seeing the strings is hard. But once you do, everything changes. One of the foundations holding up this linguistic prison is Alfred Korzybski's theory of general semantics, which Chase introduces as an unexpected gut punch. Korzybski's revelation is simple, yet revolutionary. The map is not the territory. Words, those tidy labels we put on everything, aren't reality. They hint at things but are often warped representations. And the twist? We act as if the map, the word, is the thing itself. Here begins the real tyranny. It's not enough to understand words as symbols. You must rewire your brain to recognize that no two things are identical. And ideas like justice, freedom, and truth are just vague, high-level abstractions. Chase, channeling Korzybski, calls us to get specific, to peel back these heavy abstractions, and to resist treating words as absolute. Without doing so, you risk becoming a prisoner of your own vocabulary, confusing shadows for substance. Now, let's veer into the mind-expanding world of Einstein. Chase brings Einstein's theory of relativity from physics into language, not just as a clever twist, but to uncover something fundamental about communication. Language, like time and space, is relative. Words have no fixed meaning because their references, the real-world things they describe, are always shifting and relative to other contexts. What does freedom mean in a society fed propaganda? What does justice mean in a courtroom bought by the wealthy? Without context, words are hollow vessels, empty and without substance. Chase urges us to stop treating words as static and start seeing them as fluid, evolving things. Want clarity? Start thinking like a mathematician. Numbers don't lie, but words often do. By linking ideas with equations, you eliminate ambiguity and define terms through relationships, giving you a sharper, more precise view of the world. Enter Ogden's triangle of meaning, a model that shatters the illusion that words are directly tied to what they represent. Chase wields this concept like a hammer, breaking apart our linguistic comfort zones. Ogden shows us there's no direct link between symbol and referent. It's only in your mind that you connect the word and the concept. But here's the twist. This connection can easily go wrong. Without careful interpretation, you're lost, drifting between symbols with no anchor to reality. This is why people can argue endlessly without realizing they're not even discussing the same thing. This disconnect is a trap, and Chase warns us that unchecked language can lead us down a dead-end alley. What solution does Chase offer to navigate this linguistic swamp? Ogden's Basic English, a pared-down language with all the ambiguity and fluff removed. It sounds like an antidote to the chaos of abstraction, doesn't it? But there's a catch. On the one hand, Basic English could aid clear communication, cutting down on misunderstandings from convoluted language. But is there a risk of stripping language down so far that we lose the depth and nuance of human experience? Chase seems torn. He appreciates the clarity it brings, but there's an underlying tension. Can you really condense all human thought into 850 words without sacrificing something vital? Is clarity worth losing that richness? Chase dives deeper into abstraction, right into the realms of social sciences and philosophy, where things get even wilder. Here's the deal. Chase argues that fields like social sciences, economics, and philosophy are drowning in symbols. In his view, the intellectual elite are lost in high-level abstractions, often disconnected from the real-world reference. Think about it. Economists throw around terms like market forces, or capital. But how often do they explain what these terms mean tangibly? Chase calls out this laziness where complex abstractions are presented as solid truths. He's right. Without grounding in reality, these terms are no better than building a house out of clouds. Populism, a political force dressed in the language of the people, is a prime example of linguistic manipulation. Chase digs into how political language uses personification to trap us in simplistic emotional narratives. Terms like the American people or the working class are abstractions wielded like weapons in politics. Politicians love to treat these groups as if they are unified entities with a single will. Chase doesn't buy it, and neither should we. This personification of abstract groups is dangerous because it erases the individual, unique experiences of real people. Chase also criticizes economists for over-reliance on models like the law of supply and demand, which are treated as unchangeable truths rather than flexible tools. He's here to remind us that models are not reality, and treating them as gospel leads to real-world problems. Economics isn't physics. There's no guarantee people will act in line with tidy mathematical formulas. So why pretend otherwise? Political rhetoric is perhaps the worst offender, abusing words like freedom, democracy, and liberty as vague, empty slogans. Chase exposes how these grand terms are used carelessly, meant to spark emotions, not convey clear meaning. Politicians throw these words around without grounding them in reality, using them to manipulate rather than inform. Freedom sounds noble, but what does it actually mean? Chase wants us to dig deeper into these words rather than accept them at face value. And now we get to Chase's chilling example. Joseph Goebbels, the Nazi propaganda minister, who used language as a weapon to manipulate an entire nation. This example warns us that words in the hands of tyrants are anything but neutral. Words, more potent than bullets, shape perceptions, ignite hatred, and destroy lives. Chase isn't just giving us a history lesson. He's issuing a warning. Be vigilant about the language used around you, especially by those in power. Chase's critique of philosophy argues that the field has turned into a graveyard of empty abstractions. For all its dedication to truth, philosophy often gets lost in semantics, endlessly circling around words without real-world grounding. Words like justice remain nebulous despite centuries of debate. Chase sees value in philosophy, but warns that without anchoring in tangible experience, philosophy risks losing its relevance. So, where do we go from here? For Chase, the answer lies not in language, but in mathematics, which offers clarity and precision. Mathematics, unlike language, doesn't lie. It connects concepts without ambiguity. Chase calls for us to shift toward a scientific approach to communication, using math to ground our thinking and communication in reality. The ultimate test of language, Chase argues, is survival. Does the way you use language help you thrive or navigate reality? If not, it's useless. Chase's pragmatism here is refreshing. He's not after linguistic purity, but meaningful, grounded communication. Breaking free from the tyranny of words isn't about semantics, it's about survival. Chase challenges us to use language as a tool, not a trap. The map is not the territory, the words are not the reality. If you understand that, you're already ahead of the game. So next time someone throws around terms like freedom or truth, don't just nod along. Ask yourself what they mean. Dig for the reference. With that, you'll not only navigate this linguistic jungle but thrive in it. If you enjoyed this deep dive, hit like, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more explorations into the deeper corners of human thought. Stay sharp, stay critical, and remember, the map is never the territory. See you next time.